Part 2. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 11. Chapter 11 Scarlet Beetle's Brothers. Haha, developed. Wei Suo hadn't had time to take a closer look at the first unlucky fire, and it was the two rushes of the fire. Don't run, it's you. Wei Suo immediately turned over the two cyan water blades, and then the very ha smiled and ran towards the other fire. In addition, the fire did not pay attention to Wei Suo, but climbed quickly toward the fire and was thrown down by Wei Suo's two cyan water blades. Wow, ha. Wei Suo's nouveau-like smile surging sound sounded again and again in the valley, and the head of the fire ran out of the surrounding woods and rocks from time to time. Just a few time, Wei Suo has killed more than a dozen fires scorpion. It is not good to make Wei Suo's purple mystic true technique despised by green-robed old man. With his current level 2 divine sea stage cultivation base, he has sent more than 20 cyan water blades in succession, and true in the naked body. Yuan is almost finished, so Wei Suo poured a bottle of qi recovery powder on his head. After filling a bottle of qi recovery powder, Wei Suo continued intercourse to kill the fire that came out from time to time. He also had a bottle of qi recovery powder on his body, which would at least support him to kill more than 30 fires. Looking at the current lust shape, the burning odor of tiger grass and yellow mushroom seems to have a fatal appeal to these fires. Wei Suo's small abacus has already been set up. When it is time to kill more than 30 fires, after True Yuan has consumed almost all, the fire is completely extinguished, and then another fire is ordered elsewhere. Anyway, the IQ of this low-grade monster beast is not going to help those who have been killed by him. When he sneak back, he will pack up more than 30 fired bodies. Wei Suo's killing is more convenient, only to see him killing the fire, and also posing in a variety of styles, and soon the surrounding body of the naked body has more than 20 naked body. Puff puff. Wei Suo just poured a second bottle of qi recovery powder on his head and looked at it. He brushed two cyan water blades and smashed them into a new fire. But the fire that was drilled this time did not fall at all. What's going on here? He turned to the head with some bun, and saw that the things that were drilled from the grass were also a flaming red, but it was not a fire, but a round beetle with a rock-like round head. The beetle's naked body type is more than twice as hot as the fire treasure, and the place where Wei Suo smashed two cyan water blades on his head just split two holes. At this time, two round black eyes looked at Wei Suo, as if I was very angry and the consequences were very serious. No, this is pure misunderstanding. Wei Suo screamed and screamed as soon as he bowed. He did this because he was familiar with the guy who had been cut twice by his pocket. This beetle, which looks like a red stone, is called scarlet beetles. It belongs to rank 2 lower order monster beast. It is even weaker than rock-tailed wall lizard. If it was single on one, it would only be killed by Wei Suo. However, this monster beast has never been singled out. It has always been a group of others. Sure enough, Wei Suo has just been crying and saying that it is a misunderstanding. This seems to be just a matter of why there are many fires running over, just to come. Looking at the bustle of scarlet beetles, which was smashed by Wei Suo, it made a shocking surging sound. No way immediately in some of the surrounding mines, there was a surging sound of flying crawling. At least 2 or 3 scarlet beetles rushed out of all directions in an instant, surrounded Wei Suo. Don't step on my spiritual stones. Wei Suo burning with desire. The 2 tears, scarlet beetles, came directly from a fire, and directly turned the fire into a red cake. It seems that the fire inside bone blood is also useless. Boom. With the appearance of 2 or 30 scarlet beetles, the size of a head is several times larger than that of a regular scarlet beetles. It looks like a veteran scarlet beetles. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 12. Chapter 12 is too sharp. How can you get so many fire bones, in the middle of the night, Wait until Wei Suo returns to his small stone house and take the ghost-raising jar, which he disguised as a black broken crock, from the bottom of the bed. The green-robed old man emerges and sees the pile on the stone table. A great treasure piled up the fire bones, and suddenly the eyes were as great as the copper bell. Haha, I am lucky, just in time to encounter a bunch of public fires. In order to grab a mother fire, you can kill me, then I am waiting for the body to be collected. Wei Suo carefully cleaned up the silver cane and firetail flower on the way back, and he smiled and answered green-robed old man. Now Wei Suo has found that the higher the quality of the silver candle and the firetail flower, the more smooth the talisman paper will be, and the higher the success rate will be. You are my idiot. As soon as I heard Wei Suo's, green-robed old man suddenly turned over. Roll one's eyes. Haha, if you want to know what is going on, tell me something useful. Wei Suo is very wretched. Get it? You should always know the principle of gradual progress. Green-robed old man gave a look at Wei Suo. Of course I know, but you always say that if I have repaired the divine sea realm, the fourth layer, I will give me some secret place, but you are always the secret place. Secret place. I don't know how to catch the cat. Is the cat scratching and itching to death? Wei Suo looked at green-robed old man and said, you have to tell me at least. I have found a good secret place for divine sea realm's fourth layer. Alright. Green-robed old man looked at Wei Suo and said, I will tell you a pill recipe that is useful to you, and I will tell you something I know, such as how monster beast should be handled and where it might be. Have what? For example, I know that some rogue cultivators have built a hole in a place for 20,000 years, but after so many years, those rogue cultivators may not be there. Too sharp. Wei Suo suddenly rounded his eyes. Pill recipe alone is enough to make him excited. Wei Suo is not an idiot. Looking at the look of green-robed old man, he knows that pill recipe is as useful as fireball talisman. But in addition to pill recipe, there is actually a cave. What is Dongfu? That is the cultivation world's most sharp rogue cultivator's palace. Basically all the good things will be placed in Dongfu. These years heavenly profound continent occasionally found in ancient sect ruins and broken Dongfu, will cause countless sect of contention. If he can really find one or two well-preserved damaged rogue cultivator Shiwa after the legacy of Dongfu, then he must be thoroughly rich. Because of that level of rogue cultivator, there will be at least a few pieces of shapeshift great art great treasure left behind. And in addition to these things, the monster beast wilderness beyond Heaven's Dome is vast, even the most powerful treasure of Spirit Peak City, and only a small part of the monster beast wilderness near the side of Spirit Peak City. Area. Monster beast wilderness is not only the number of monster beast, but also the number of high levels monster beast is difficult to imagine. Even if the golden of core stage out is very likely to be the meteorite fell among them. So now monster beast wilderness, some of the identified areas of the map is very expensive, but the old man with 560 generations of master, tens of thousands of years of experience, look at his appearance, don't say is to go to other pieces of great treasure Lu. It seems that even Heaven's Dom the wilderness outside of has been to many places. Cultivation world, what is the most great treasure? It is experience. I don't want to understand it. Now, when Wei Suo thinks clearly, he will fully understand how valuable this green-robed old man is. Old man, it seems that I can really touch Shui Linger in my life. It really depends on you. But why not tell me what pill recipe is now? Why do you have to wait until then? I don't want you to die, green-robed old man sneered. Look at your temper. If I told you today, maybe you can't help but go to the place I said tomorrow. I said pill recipe is coming to you to repair divine sea realm fourth layer is only useful, and I have to go to at least those places I said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is Shouting Too Fake. Wow, ha ha ha. One more. /P. In the small stone house, the old hacker saw the squatting red card lady's laughing surging sound. The next 6 days Wei Suo always secret place in a state of fanaticism, because each of the 2 fireball talisman to earn a equivalent low grade, as if accidentally fell into an spiritual stone's veins inside, as long as dug out is spiritual stones, for spiritual stones hunger has lasted for many years Wei Suo, of course, to dig night and night. For green-robed old man, it was also a great treasure. As he initially judged, Wei Suo has a good talent on the refining talisman. Now that he refines 16 fireball talismans at a time, great treasure can be refined into 12 sheets with a success rate of over 70%, and Wei Suo is now using an ordinary talisman brush, if you put on a good talisman brush. In this case, it is estimated that the success rate of this fireball talisman will be directly over 80%. In the many masters that green-robed old man has followed, there isn't a single fireball talisman that can exceed 80%. And now Wei Suo refining talisman has already produced experience. One day, when refining talisman is tired, he stops to make talisman paper. Anyway, it doesn't need to use any energy to make talisman paper. When the spirit is almost restored, then refining talisman. From the beginning, only a dozen fireball talisman can be produced every day. By the 4th day, Wei Suo has been able to refine about 30 fireball talisman every day. This guy is actually a refining talisman genius. It a ghost now that Wei Suo is holding a newly made fireball talisman's proud haha Euroreat treasure, green-robed old man can't help but shake his head. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, he wouldn't associate this wretched guy with a refining talisman genius. What are you doing? After shaking his head, green-robed old man eyes couldn't help but bulge. Because Wei Suo had to refine the refining bunch of fireball talisman several times a day, every time he clicked on it, but now that he has clicked again, he actually took the fireball talisman one by one. On the bed, I heard the surging sound of green-robed old man. Wei Suo he smiled and lay down and slept on top of a great treasure pile of fireball talisman. Eurorean-robed old man is speechless at once. At this time, he did understand a little bit about why this guy has a high success rate. This guy is a standard financial fan. A downscale spiritual stones can make his eyes shine. Now a fireball talisman is half a product. Spiritual stones, of course, he is more careful than anyone else. Haha, Wei Suo lying on a great treasure pile of fireball talisman couldn't tell the cool. The fireball talisman refining in these 7 days has been counted countless times, and now there are a total of 141 fireball talisman. 141 fireball talisman, is a full 70 pieces of spiritual stones. After lying for a while, Wei Suo climbed up again, and the sheets of the ones were collected and put into a leather bag. What do you want to do? Looking at Wei Suo, who is ready to go out, green-robed old man couldn't help but surging sound. Go out and sell the characters. Anyway, at this time, great treasure, most stores are still open. Wei Suo looked at green-robed old man. In any case, I am now refining 30 fireball talisman and I am too tired to die. It is better to change the spiritual stones back. When refining talisman gets tired, take the opportunity to take the opportunity. Anyway, my refining talisman is not just for the spiritual stones cultivation, so it's just to think shapeshift. Great art is good. Rian-robed old man sneered a little. But if you just sell the fireball talisman directly with great treasure, you can estimate that Heaven's first sect in Spirit Peak City is not available for 2 days. You will find it on your door, and you will only be able to refining talisman for them in the future. I don't want to be condensed in my life. /P. What do you mean? Wei Suo is a bit confusing. Green-robed old man asked, how many talisman masters, alchemist, in Spirit Peak City? Wei Suo thought for a moment. Is it estimated that there are so many dozens? Green-robed old man. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 14. Chapter 14 Hanwei Wei's first great treasure home is going to Black Bubble Pool. It is said that some people have had 1 or 200 fireball talisman there. What? Someone got 1000 fireball talisman in the Black Bubble Pool. As Wei Suo expected, the three had some resentment, and then they went crazy. They hated why they didn't touch the cultivator of the rust iron box and quickly spread the news. In fact, the three guys like Wei Suo have been waiting for a long time, because at least the low-grade cultivator, which is similar to Wei Suo is sure to see that he has taken so many fireball talisman instead of killing people. Wei Suo has been pretending to be in the vicinity of Black Bubble Pool for a time or two, and finally waited for the three guys who should fight and beat him. It's just Wei Suo never thought it would be so outrageous. Now not only is the number of talisman is past marvelous, from the beginning of 100, 1000, spread to later are tens of thousands of, and is a variety of strange rumors have come out. Some people in the Black Bubble Pool to see Wei Suo in the inside picked up a complete shapeshift great art great treasure. Someone Wei Suo found a rank 7 monster core. No way. Wei Suo, the initiator of this rumor, saw a conversation between several people on the roadside and almost fell to the ground after a store in the north of the city and took out fireball talisman. Because these people actually said that someone saw Wei Suo in it thousands of years ago. Heavenly Profound Continent's most beautiful female cultivator by Ling Fairy's corset, is this too outrageous? At least a few hundred people have gathered in the swamps of the Black Bubble Pool. It is said that there are still two small forces in the fight for a priority in the search for a swamp. The right to hear the news. Wei Suo heard the news. I really want to see the excitement, but in order to be careful, Wei Suo walked quickly toward the golden crown of the heavenly 2-character pure gold medal with a great treasure near the gate of the east gate. Just as Wei Suo was heading for the temple, Hanwei Wei just wandered around the free market outside the city gate. For a girl, any first time is very important. The first killer of Hanwei Wei's monster beast is actually the 2 rock-tailed wall lizard. In fact, she is not as stupid as Wei Suo imagined. The first time I sneaked out to play monster beast alone, it was indeed good to be able to do that. However, the 2 rock-tailed wall lizard, who had spent a lot of great treasures, were also snatched away by Wei Suo, and Wei Suo was not taken away from her by the bright treasure, but pretended to take off her pants in front of her. 2 rock-tailed wall lizard ran on the back. Therefore, Hanwei Wei can be said to have an indelible impression on Wei Suo. These days, Hanwei Wei often goes to the free market to turn around. He thinks that the low-grade rogue cultivator like Wei Suo is likely to come to the free market. Easy, but she didn't think that Wei Suo had been squatting at home to refining talisman these days. Although Wei Suo's hair is now burnt, and Hanwei Wei only sees Wei Suo's silhouette in the free market, Hanwei Wei immediately recognizes that Wei Suo is the first shameless to grab himself. Person. At the thought of the guy who was running on the day, he couldn't catch up with it, and waved his hand to the beautiful woman. After seeing him and drinking tea together, Hanwei Wei immediately glanced at Wei Suo with a bite of his teeth. The building of the pure gold plaque with the great treasure of the day of the great treasure. Great treasure is one of the buildings where heaven's first sect placed the shapeshift great art. Within thousands of miles of Spirit Peak City, Heaven's sect built a number of teleport shapeshift great art matrices, because Spirit Peak City itself was heavenly for the edge of ND continent, so that some of the heavens of the sect shapeshift great art array are even arranged outside Heaven's dome. As long as intercourse is sufficient spiritual stones, the cultivator in Spirit Peak City can even appear directly outside the Heaven's dome thousands of miles away. Heaven's first sect. This magnificent palace is an imposing empty great treasure temple. The 16 golden coiling dragon great treasure pillars support the entire great treasure hall. The middle of the great treasure hall is lined with 3 mosaics. Crystal stone and the transfer of the shapeshift great art with the mysterious rune. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 15. Chapter 15 Divine Sea Realm Third Layer. It's still not as comfortable as Talisman lying down. Wei Suo never made so many spiritual stones in one go, so many spiritual stones and in the bed, almost Wei Suo's eyes are dazzled, but when lying down, the spiritual stones is hard, not very comfortable. Old man, old man. After welding two surging sound green-robed old man did not respond, Wei Suo knew that green-robed old man should be recuperating origin chi, so Wei Suo sat up and grabbed a piece of spiritual stones and closed it. Binoculars, start cultivation directly. Only a moment later, Wei Suo's breathing, heartbeat and pulse entered a strange rhythm, and the spiritual stones in his hand also exudes a faint cyan airflow that broke into the skin of Wei Suo's hand. Wei Suo is still motionless, and more light cyan airflows flow from the sleek spiritual stones into his naked body. As more of the light cyan airflow breaks into his naked body, the skin is also faintly revealing a warm luster, while the color of the spiritual stones in his hand shining with crystal green is getting lighter and lighter. Great treasure. After about half an hour, the last trace of green on the spiritual stones in Wei Suo's hand has faded away, becoming completely transparent, and there are still some spots in the faint, seemingly other impurities, and the next product, spiritual stones, was immediately scrapped in the hands of Wei Suo's kaka. A surging sound of call, Wei Suo spit out a slightly purple turbidity and opened his eyes. It was very unpredictable to look at the spiritual stones that had been broken into 7 or 8 pieces. It seems that you have to work hard to earn spiritual stones, by true Yuan shapeshift great art at this high level. Although he took the breath of a product, spiritual stones, it was extremely refreshing, but after throwing away the useless pieces, Wei Suo shook his head a little helplessly. According to green-robed old man, in the past 2 or 3,000 years, the cultivator's work, shapeshift great art, has been divided into heaven, earth, black and yellow rank 4 according to the quality of shapeshift great art. Heaven ranks shapeshift great art is the most powerful, and the yellow levels shapeshift great art is the worst. Wei Suo now cultures purple mystic true technique is also the mystic ranks culture heart grade, but it is the lowest grade of the mystic rank shapeshift great art. Like the entire cultivation world, according to the true Yuan cultivation base, the reason why the first realm of the cultivator is called Divine Sea Realm is that only the culture can be transformed into spiritual cheese in spiritual stones or refining medicine pill. Become true Yuan, and open at least one niche in the naked body that can store true Yuan, which is considered to be the cultivator. The name of Divine Sea Realm is because true Yuan flows in the naked body and can emit the surging sound of the great treasure river. However, Wei Suo has now opened a second store of true Yuan in the naked body, and has already repaired Divine Sea Realm's second layer. However, when he was in the culture, true Yuan in the naked body flowed and heard great treasure river great treasure sea water flow rumble surging sound. Non-Wei Suo didn't even hear the surging sound like peeing. The reason is that the purple mystic true technique rank by Wei Suo is really too low. The mystic level mid-level shapeshift great art, also modified to the Divine Sea Realm's second layer, estimates that the total amount of true Yuan in the naked body is 3 to 4 stronger than the Wei Suo of the culture mystic level shapeshift great art times. And repairing mystic rank high level, shapeshift great art, is about 10 times stronger than Wei Suo. So now with the Wei Suo's cultivation base, the cyan water blade can only be used for more than 20 times, and for the culture of mystic rank high level, the movement base of the Divine Sea Realm second layer, cyan water blade can be used for at least 200 times. Not only is there a problem with quantity, for example, Wei Suo now has some harmful shapeshift great art, and it is very likely that true Yuan is not enough without shapeshift great art, but changed the high-level work of shapeshift great art. Deo cultivator, maybe it has been able to perform. Now true Yuan in the Wei Suo naked body flows in the meridians. It is indeed the surging sound of the P, but the earth rank, or the gradivator of the heaven rank great art, to the level 1 divine sea stage. True Yuan is dozens of times stronger than Weisuo's strong great treasure. If you flow, you may have surging sound and flowing in the great treasure river. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 16. Chapter 16 Ice Spider. Weisuo walked out of the old fox's shop with a grey lighted egg, great treasure, and walked over to the vinegar bridge in the north of the city. This time, Weisuo didn't sell the fireball talisman on hand for spiritual stones again. The last time green-robed old man said it makes sense. He thinks this kind of thing is just one more time, it is by spirit. Peak City's danger of some great treasure forces will be a bit more. So his current plan is to exchange some of the remaining 27 pieces of spiritual stones for some equipment, and then rely on these equipment and fireball talisman to place something to sell. Vinegar Square Bridge is an ordinary black stone bridge, but this ordinary stone arch bridges and Spirit Peak City built together, belong to Spirit Peak City, one of the first batch of buildings, and the south of Vinegar Square Bridge has a side great treasure stone wall. Many square cities and businesses will announce some information on this stone wall, equivalent to his Spirit Peak City northmost great treasure bulletin board. And accepting commissions, hiring, or helping them collect the materials they need, is the most important source of exchange for culture spiritual stones for all rogue cultivators on heavenly profound continent. Because the chi recovery powder on the body has been used up, and the defensive earth shield treasure talisman can only be used once again, Weisuo first bought 4 bottles of chi recovery powder in a store in the north of the city. The total amount of spiritual chi contained in the 2 bottles of chi recovery powder is not comparable to that of a previous product, spiritual stones, but it is unmatched by the original spiritual stones in terms of fast recovery of true yuan. Chi recovery powder is all low-grade rogue cultivator to the field of essential consumables. Weisuo is very want to green-robed old man can know a similar chi recovery powder pill recipe, and if he can be as worthless as the raw materials of his fireball talisman, then he is really rich, but green-robed old man is obviously no such pill recipe, otherwise he will certainly and fireball talisman Fu Fang the same as first to Weisuo. After buying 4 bottles of chi recovery powder, Weisuo took another 3 pieces of spiritual stones and bought a rank 2 cold ice talisman. He spent 15 of the following products: spiritual stones, bought a linked yen jade and spent 1. The following product, spiritual stones, bought a wind chime and a golden light. Weisuo now in addition to fireball talisman, there is no attack sum of the shapeshift great art great treasure, and rank 2 cold ice talisman except for equivalent to heavenly circuit realm the layer of the 1 cultivation base cultivator great art power, and itself has frozen paralysis opponent, allowing opponent to slow down the effect, and spirit day jade is the heaven S1 sect shapeshift great art, the release of the spirit lighthood of the defensive force great treasure and way. Suo hand inside the earth shield treasure talisman almost, but this shapeshift great art device can be used not only 5 times, and after the excitation, can automatically induction to the surrounding origin chi changes in the stolen under the lust condition of the attack, the spirit lighthood will be released automatically. This is especially useful in some wilderness with a lot of monster beasts, and the life-saving coefficient of the great treasure, Weisuo has been coveted for a long time, but the previous product of spiritual stones is generally not over 7 pieces of Weisuo. Can't afford it? As for the purchase of linked yen yupi, I also bought a Jingguangfu with the same defensive character. It is because Weisuo feels that in the case of the monster that the monster beast is not strong, you can use this value only half of the original spiritual stones. The golden light comes to defense, so you don't have to consume the powerful energy in linked yen jade. Now this luminescent pearl in Weisuo's arms also cost him a product of spiritual stones. He bought this luminescent pearl. One is to accidentally fall into some black light bonfires in the wild, and the other is to refining at night. Talisman, the brighter the light in the small stone house, the higher the success rate of his refining talisman. After such careful calculations, Wei Suo had only 5 of the remaining spiritual stones in his pocket. This brother, don't know if you can borrow a place to talk. Just near the secret place of the Vinegar Square Bridge, 3 people suddenly approached Wei Suo from the rear and came out of the surging sound. Wei Suo some surprise turned the head, but to see himself is a look at the 278-year-old green-robe young Taoist priest, face a little narrow, look very nice, and his side stood a man and a woman. Male looks about 30 years old, very big strong, high out of the way suo great treasure half ahead, the face is very easy and honest, wearing a cyan, clothes have dark color of the light flashing, what seems to be wearing a jin tie inside a, behind a long cloth, looks very wide great treasure heavy. Should be a heavy weapon, and standing in the burly man's side, is a wearing light yellow, clothes with cyan silk embroidered with a faint rose patterned dress of the woman, oval, fair complexion, looks great treasure than Wei Suo slightly great treasure some of the appearance. Ordinary shapeshift great art clothing, not worth the money, black iron armor, a product of spiritual stones. This woman is doing a good job. Because of the indifferent relationship, Wei Suo habitually took a look at the family of these 3 people, and judged that these 3 people should also be similar to his low-grade rogue cultivator, and sneak a glance at the face of the melon, looking after a very delicate woman. Wei Suo asked the white cultivator that looked very amiable. "What is the matter? I never seem to know you." "My name is Lin Dei." The 2 of them are Yes Yao Zheng and Ye Wei, and the young Taoist priest with a narrow face is very polite and smiles. "Excuse me, we have one who can earn a lot of spiritual stones. The task, more than one person will be more insurance. We want to invite you to join, do not know if you are interested." Make a lot of tasks for spiritual stones. What kind of task is it? Wei Suo took a nap, and he certainly knew that some rogue cultivators would join hands to pick up a task that they couldn't eat, but the profits were great treasure. But Wei Suo always pursued the principle of safety first, too dangerous. Things that are not sure are generally not done. "Can you talk to another place?" Lin Dei said that some God's secret place looked at Wei Suo. Wei Suo shrugged indifferently and nodded. Anyway, Spirit Peak City couldn't kill anyone, and he looked at the 3 men, especially the white-haired women in light yellow clothes. See Wei Suo nod, Lin Dei in front lead the way. A few people also did not go far, went to Vinegar Fang Bridge, a lonely alley, sure no one followed. Lin Dei looked at Wei Suo, light surging sound said, "Actually not what task, is my got the exact news and knew that in a secret place outside Spirit Peak City, there were 3 ice silk spiders." 3 ice spiders, this Wei Suo is a bit surprised. The ice silk spider is a level 3 mid-level monster beast. The body of the silk capsule is not only very tough, but also the effect of fire, is to refine the fire shapeshift great art clothing of the best raw materials, and most importantly, level 3 monster beast have inner core presence. A level 3 mid-level monster beast core is now priced at 50 inner low-grade spiritual. If it is 3 adult ice silk spider, the added value will be over 190 low-grade spiritual stones. And in general, there are very few monster beasts with more than 3 ranks within Heaven's Dome. Why would you invite me? 190 pieces of spiritual stones are enough to make Wei Suo serious, and Wei Suo doesn't feel like he has a savvy hen's head and looks wise. When he is on the road, there are unfamiliar people to invite himself to go. Fiscal. We only noticed you in the city. You bought the cold ice talisman and linked yen jade. Lin Dei looked at Wei Suo and explained, "We feel that the ability to buy these things should not be bad, but if it is too powerful, we also have concerns, and we dare not invite each other to hunt these 2 monster beasts, and your cultivation base is similar to us, both of which are Divine Sea Realms 3rd layer, which fits our conditions." "How do you know that my cultivation base is Divine Sea Realms 3rd layer?" Wei Suo stunned, "except for many cultures, which brought the special variation sceneries shapeshift great art. It is difficult to judge the height of the cultivation base of the shapeshift great art." Like Wei Suo, the silver robe's outstanding but little beauty, because of the power of her ice blade, judged that the silver robes should be a higher cultivator than the cultivation base. Oh, I have an aura determining technique shapeshift great art, but if I have a cultivator in my second layer, I can see it without the shapeshift great art. Lin Deyi smiled slightly. This aura determining technique is very useful in the future. I also want to do shapeshift great art to learn a shapeshift great art, Wei Suo thought as he thought, and his eyes turned. But how do I believe in you? The traces of these 3 ice spiders are their brothers and sisters. You should also know that the eagles are very reputable. Lin Deyi clicked on Yes Yaozheng and Ye Wei, who were silently surging sound. Are you a flying eagle, or a brother and sister? Wei Suo knows that the Flying Eagle is a small organization in the Fallen Moon City, the nearest Spirit Peak city, which is just a little grade rogue, with some knowledge of each other cultivator composition, but Flying Eagle people do things are very reputable. Wei Suo is also heard, and now let him how do not understand is, this Yes Yaozheng and Ye Wei appearance is too far, a 5 great treasure 3 thick, like a great treasury apes, and the other one is fair-skinned, looks very comely, and looks like there is no much resemblance to the place. Yes, we are the eagle. Upon hearing Wei Suo's, Yes Yaozheng, who was very burly, nodded and took out a small black essence metal card from his arms with a flying eagle pattern. The rest of our eagle is just picking up, got a task and went to Tai City. We were afraid that time would drag on. The 2 ice spiders went away, so we found Lin Deyi, fellow deist, who had previously met, and wanted to hunt these 2 ice spiders as soon as possible. If you don't feel relieved, I can tell you that we have also signed an iron policy for the sake of insurance. The price is 40 downscale spiritual stones. Lin Deyi looked at Wei Suo. If it goes well, at least each of us can evenly split more than 30 of the following spiritual stones. If this is the case, then I will go with you. Wei Suo nodded and agreed. Iron Policy is also an organization of rogue cultivator in Spirit Peak City. There are dozens of organizations like Spirit Peak City, but Iron Policy's reputation and scale are not comparable to those of other organizations. Except that each is a rogue cultivator, there is no limit to joining and exiting. The strength of Iron Policy is no different from some section, and the people of Iron Policy are equally reputable, saying how much spiritual stones is charged. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 17. Chapter 17. If every time I come out and play the monster beast, there are 2 beautiful women to accompany, isn't it cool? A pile of rotten dead leaves, very tidal wet gloomy cave entrance, Wei Suo's eyes from time to time in front of Ye Wei and Nangong Yuking's small waist, ass on what is aiming. At the time, in the south of heaven's first sex transmission of shapeshift great art, it was a meeting with Nangong Yuking. Wei Suo's eyes were a bit straight, because Lin Deyi used to be only an Iron Policy person, but Wei Suo didn't think of coming. Female, and still a very hot beauty. Nangong Yuking's face is slightly round, and a long black hair is a scorpion. It looks very sweet. The most terrible thing is her tall, which is almost as tall as Wei Suo, and has a pair of very strong and slender legs. And she wore a tight red leather armor. This tight-fitting leather armor is worn, and Nangong Yuking is simply a convex place, a concave place, so that people can't open their eyes when they see a certain part, and they can't help but bleed nosebleeds. So poor accustomed to the Wei Suo was the first to see people are to look at the value of this person's things spiritual stones, but Wei Suo just after a long time, only now Nangong Yuking wearing is rank 3 monster beast red beaver skin refining. Red beaver skin after refining will be very soft and elastic, is to refine the best personal small inside a material, in heavenly profound continent extremely female cultivator Ying, and the skin of the red beaver can withstand the general divine. Sea realm 5th layer cultivator great art attack, but the shapeshift leather on the red beaver can only be part of the back, like Nangong Yuking such a complete tight leather armor at least 20 red beaver to get together, so the value is absolutely on the 100 low grade spiritual, and can be such a stone's leather wear on the body, estimated the most less is the cultivator of Divine Sea Realm 4th layer. No, maybe Divine Sea Realm 5th layer. Wei Suo took another look at Nangong Yuking's tight and seductive chest profile and looked at Nangong Yuking's unusually determined look, adding another to his heart. As he had expected, Yes Yaozheng and Yegyue, the place where the eye silk spiders were, and Spirit Peak City was not far away, and now they are in the mountains called Chaos Tengshan, the distance Spirit Peak City south also only 700 miles, in the mountains many high-grade treasure trees do not count, but also the growth of many strange-looking vine plants, clinging to the trees, so the entire forest in the light is very dark, coupled with the Chaos Tengshan inside moisture sufficient, so the forest floor is very muddy, some ordinary viper insects is also very much. The gloomy cave in front of you is in the jungle of the back mountain of the idyllic hill. In this jungle, there are also vines growing in the secret place, which are covered with long taupe pods. Go, the monster beast is not the same as other monster beasts. It will only come out when it preys on it. Otherwise, even if you hear any noise, it will not come out. We only have to go in to kill the 3 eyes. The spider is here. After a close look at the hole, Lin Deyi nodded like the old great treasure, and walked into the cave with Nangong Yuking. At this time, Lin Deyi has to take the lead in the old great treasure. He has no opinion at all. Because this kind of lust is generally the most great treasure of the front and the last person, so Lin Deyi and Nangong Yuking move, Wei Suo immediately followed. Go in. This great treasure is really rich. Wei Suo is behind Xin Deyi and Nangong Yuking, but sees the burly Yes Yaozheng consciously a little behind and follows Yegyue. After entering the cave, Lin Deyi lit a white wax strip, and Wei Suo recognized that the wax strip was made from the oil of the first-class monster beast whitefish. After the ignition, not only the strong winds could not be extinguished, but also burned. The time is extremely long, so one can burn for several hours. Although a luminescent pearl that I just bought is also useful in this place, Wei Suo feels that it is better not to attract the attention of the monster beast, or the low-key point. The cave is relatively long and narrow, and the great treasure can only accommodate 2 people side by side. After entering, the height of the head is 3 or 4 feet. In the light of the milky white light in the hands of Lin Deyi, the walls look slimy, shining a dark green brilliance, with a rotten smell. It doesn't matter if it is so. The most important thing is that the rocks on the top of the head are still dripping down from time to time. This harsh environment makes Wei Suo unable to resist the neck. I have been walking around for 2 sticks of incenses. When Wei Suo was a little flustered in this quiet environment, suddenly, Lin Deyi and Nangong Yuking, who were in the forefront, suddenly became tight. Fiercely stopped. Lin Deyi and Nangong Yuking both stopped suddenly, but Wei Suo and Yegyue, who were just behind Nangong Yuking, were not able to catch up. Wei Suo's whole person was posted with Nangong Yuking. Together. Nangong Yuking that waist, that leg, moreover, Nangong Yuking is wearing a soft and smooth tight armor. This can even feel the warmth of Nangong Yuking's skin. This feeling is almost the same as a glamorous temptation. But this is not the case. The most important thing is that Yegyue behind Wei Suo also hit Wei Suo's. Wei Suo suddenly felt that 2 groups of unusually soft and straight pressed on his back. The front is a fascinating curve, amazing elasticity, followed by a soft and squeezing squeeze. Nangong Yuking's good bomb. Yegyue doesn't seem to be small, but Shui Linger should be more great treasure. Wei Suo feels that she is simply too happy. Wei Suo suddenly pressed on Nangong Yuking's body, and Nangong Yuking was surging sound. At the same time, the hand was unconsciously nudged backwards. However, this nudged even Nangong Yuking was a stiff person, because her hand was just pushed on Wei Suo, something she didn't have. This time, her head banged, and it was not released. What happened? This time, Yeziajeng's surging sound rang from the end. Nangong Yuking only heard Wei Suo calmly saying in her ear, "Don't let go, this time, She suddenly looked at Fiery Hot, as if she had caught a hot potato. She quickly retracted her hand. The great treasure home is careful, the ice spider should be nearby. Lin Deyi took a step forward and let it go. Wei Suo's empty space from Lin Deyi, looking forward through the fire, suddenly took a breath of air, just feeling very embarrassed, and suddenly dissipated the great treasure half. The cave in front is widened and the great treasure is a lot like a small valley. The ground of the weird stone is piled with countless sacks. It is full of densely packed animals and human bodies. And these naked bodies are sucked into dry bodies, not decaying, and look very terrifying. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 18. Chapter 18 Ice and Fire 9 Heavens. On some of the prominent hills surrounding the four walls, there are also some white silk sacks, and there is also a naked body inside, but it has not been sucked into a corpse, as if it were dry food prepared by the ice spider. The unlucky person seems to have something. Wei Suo swept over and saw one of the silk sacks inside. There was a corpse naked body that looked like a cultivator. The chest part seemed to have a faint brilliance, but I couldn't see if it was talisman or something else. Ice and Fog, Yeguwei, whose red cloud on his face has not faded, swept over, but unconsciously issued a surging sound. Looking down her eyes, Wei Suo saw a dwarf plant growing out of the stone crevices of the mountain wall. The leaves are dark green, like fern's leaves, but the tree stems are four white, a little like the general fruit of small oranges, but these four white fruit above, but is emitting a trace of cold mist, like four ice spiders generally. It really is ice and fog. It seems that there is a great treasure in this mountain wall, a cold jade inside. Wei Suo's eyes suddenly shine. Ice haze is a kind of fruit containing the cold spirit, is the essential material for many fire attribute monster beast monster core into medicine pill, an ice fruit. The price is on top of 20 downscale spiritual stones. And the ice level monster beast of the third level or above can also devour the spirit to strengthen the Grester treasure's own monster core. Monster core is equivalent to monster beast, which stores True Yuan's divine C. The more monster core is, the more great treasure, the more the monster beast will become. However, this kind of ice fog can only grow in the vicinity of cold jade. Here, there is such an ice fog fruit, and there must be a cold jade in the mountain. The cold jade above middle grade can be used to refine the shapeshift great art character or the shapeshift great art great treasure. The value is also very high. No wonder there are 3 ice spiders here. Lin Deyi said that he had taken a talisman in his hand. Lin Deyi's movements were very cautious, but Wei Suo looked at talisman in his hand and he was happy. Lin Deyi's talisman, with its brilliance, was actually the fireball talisman made by Wei Suo. It seems that the fireball talisman refining itself is very popular with the rogue cultivator intercourse of Spirit Peak City. Be careful, Wei Suo is secretly smug in the heart. Suddenly there is no sign, the face is red and the Nangong Yuking has a surging sound. A piece of slap great treasure, small blue ice blossoms quickly condensed in front of her, quickly formed a translucent ice shield with a nice, fine ice pattern. A surging sound of pa. At the moment when the ice shield was formed, a stick-like black shadow slammed into the ice shield. Ice spider. The first reaction of Wei Suo was that the ice spider appeared, but by the light in the hands of Lin Deyi, Wei Suo saw an adult arm-like python on the ice shield, which was about a long length and covered. The color is similar to the surrounding rock. Greystone rock snake. Just as Wei Suo was a little bit worried, Lin Deyi in front of him also had an unexpected surging sound. Do you? Ice silk spider, also level 2 monster beast younger brother? The limestone snake, level 2 mid-level monster beast. The scales outside the body can change with the color of the surrounding rocks, very tough, generally level 2 divine C stage. The following cultivator hair movement shapeshift great art is still difficult to injury, and relying on the strength of the tail, you can jump a few feet away. Isn't it? Just as Wei Suo quickly thought about the message about this monster beast, A surging sound in the crack of the rock was again a grey stone snake of the same great treasure. Another one? Wow, ha ha ha. If Wei Suo saw it before and it came out, it would definitely be cold and sweaty, but Wei Suo now has a bunch of fireball talisman, and this Nangong cold does have a few brushes, so in his eyes now, this limestone snake is also equivalent to the active spiritual stones, and bar does not run out too. The coldness of her ice shield is so heavy, because I don't panic at all. Wei Suo, you are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 19. The two limestone snakes have just been solved without being suspense by a great treasure master of the Divine Sea Realm 5th layer and a fireball talisman. The flame produced by the fireball talisman has not completely extinguished. Wei Suo's wretched eyes have just been in Nangong. Some parts of Yuking moved away, and a group of white shadows slid down from the top of the cave. Ice Spider. Sliding down from the top of the cave is the 3-level mid-level monster beast. It's not as ugly as it is. Wei Suo was also the first time I saw the ice spider look like it. In his imagination, this ice spider should look the same as a normal spider, but now I see this ice spider. Wei Suo knows that he is a great treasure. The ice spider in front of you is not great treasure, naked body great treasure. There are two great treasure watermelon as great treasure small, but this ice silk spider still has a long neck with a small skull on it, just watermelon above the root of the cucumber. A cucumber with a small tomato look is enough to make people have no language, but the ice spider's mouth there are reveals two white great treasure die, two round small eyes still flashing fierce yellow. The rounded body of the naked body and the 8 long legs are covered with thick white long hair, giving off a cold atmosphere. Now behind the abdomen is a filament of glittering white light, which fell from the top of the cave. After seeing Wei Suo and Nangong Yuking, the ice spider did not start to them the attack, but quickly climbed towards the ice and fog on the mountain wall. No, this ice spider wants to swallow the ice and fog directly. You can stop it? Upon seeing the action of this ice spider, Lin Dei immediately leaped into the cave, and a yellow light flew out of his hand and hit the ice spider. Thunder attribute shapeshift great art. Wei Suo saw that the yellow light from Lin Dei's hand was actually a dozen of thumb great treasures, and the lightning bolts of the great treasure were squeaking. The electric fire is straight. In the same level of shapeshift great art, the power of the thunder attribute shapeshift great art is generally the most great treasure, so Lin Dei, the Dao technique shapeshift great art, Wei Suo is a little surprised. But this spider's reaction is not generally fast. In Lin Dei this Dao technique shapeshift great art issued, another snow white butt and crystal silk from the belly of the ice silk spider shot out, glued to the other side cave wall, and then this ice spider is just swinging in the air. Lin Dei issued a yellow light played a blank, hit in front of the mountain wall, into a group of yellow sparks jump. No way. Wei Suo and others all followed Lin Dei into the cave. They were originally prepared to encircle the ice spider with Lin Dei, but found that the ice spider did not run toward the ice fog after avoiding the attack by Lin Dei. Going, but hanging in the air, coldly looking at Wei Suo and others. On the left side of the cave, the top and the rear of the cave are all falling down with an ice spider, but instead they are surrounded by them. Especially the latter one, just in the secret place hanging over the cave, they also blocked their retreat. It seems that this ice silk spider has to swallow the ice fog fruit just to make it look like it is coming in. The 3 ice cream spiders obviously have a certain sense of intelligence, which is much smarter than the average monster beast. Seeing that these 3 ice spiders had to look at themselves as dry eyes, Wei Suo didn't dare to trust the great treasure, and quickly took the 15th of the spiritual stones that he had spent on his hand. As a purple True Yuan sneaked in, Ling Tianyupai immediately sent a soft white light. Kal Nangong Yuking also immediately issued a flame blade, and the ice silk spider in front of it smashed past. However, the speed and movement of this ice spider is very fast. Several hair legs are only pulled on the two white but white crystal spiders, and they avoid the flame blade that roars. Meantime. Path to Heaven. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 20. Chapter 20 Shapeshift Great Art Great Treasure Fragment, Seeking Red Tickets. The third level monster beast is a 3-level monster beast. After watching the ice silk spider being photographed by Ye Xiaozheng on the mountain wall, it hits the stone. This kind of force, if you change the general level 2 monster beast, it is estimated. It's almost like being taken directly into a patties. But this ice silk spider is just a scream of a surging sound, just like a ball, it seems to have been slightly injured. The ice spider at the rear is already netting at the hole behind them. Hearing the scream of the ice spider put down a white but white cobweb that has completed a great treasure half. Leaving the hole, I climbed towards Ye Xiaozheng at a speed that was scary. On one side of the ice silk spider, although the body was burned out a lot of focus, but at this time the surface of the ice spider naked body is filled with a layer of cold, a moment of Nangong Yuking's fire rain on it also does not form damage to two great treasure. The temperature in the entire cave is getting lower and lower. There are even white frosts on the surrounding walls and stones on the ground. First solve this problem. As Lin Daiyi's surging sound has always been up, a surging sound, a fireball smashed into the body of the ice spider that had just been shot by Lin Xiaozheng and bounced. Lin Daiyi actually sent out a fireball talisman made by Wei Suo. Puff puff. At this time, the ice spider that came after the rear has approached Ye Xiaozheng, and the ice silk that has been sent out has no shapeshift great art stabbing Ye Xiaozheng, but the thick ice on the ice silk is also frozen. Ye Xiaozheng is very uncomfortable. The naked body of the moment is a bit stiff. The skin of this 3-level mid-level monster beast is too thick. See Ye Xiaozheng for a moment without life. Wei Suo and Ye Wei are desperately constantly issued cyan blade and water arrows toward the head of the water fireball and blew the ice silk spider bash. Was talisman the ice silk spider's mouth has already gush out dark red's blood froth, but Wei Suo and Ye Wei the more than 10 successive cyan water blade and the water arrow storm like fight up, but also only then has made the ice silk spider's body 3 or 4 wounds, temporarily. Didn't kill the ice spider. On the contrary, this ice silk spider, regardless of Wei Suo etal, desperately squirted ice to Ye Xiaozheng, frozen Ye Xiaozheng's teeth, and the ape's waving became slow motion. Not any ice spider. Chi. At this time, a blue light suddenly flew out of Nangong Yuking's body and suddenly shot the ice spider she was dealing with. The speed of this blue light is several times faster than the speed of the flame blade that was issued before Nangong Yuking. Not only Wei Suo and others can see it at all, but the ice silk spider is too late to escape. Surging sound, the head of the ice silk spider was actually directly wearing a hole, and the blue light flew back to the hands of Nangong Yuking. Do you know what this is? Power is such a great treasure, is it shapeshift great art great treasure? Wei Suo and Ye Wei and others saw that the power of this blue light could not help but a deep breath. After the head of the ice spider was hard wearing a hole, it was still on the ground. After the blue light was released, Nangong Yuking's true yuan was very devastating, and immediately took out a bottle of qi recovery powder and drank it. When I saw Nangong Yuking, it seemed that there was no shapeshift great art to deal with the other two ice spiders, and Ye Xiaozheng's secret place was in jeopardy. Ye Wei was anxious to take out a cyan talisman. Rank 1 cyan wood talisman. With her true yuan's attention, this cyan's talisman turned into a group of cyan's astral qi, condense a cyan stake that looks thicker in the air, and the sly fall on the other side has been fireball. Talisman slammed the ice spider once. Being slammed by this heavy cyan stake, this ice spider finally couldn't do it. All the hairy legs kept twitching, and the blood from the mouth ran out. The remaining ice silk spider was not good, and quickly fled upward along the snow white but white spider hanging from the top of the cave.